This is Chick2Chick Uncut, raw and unfiltered.
So, can we be fit and fabulous and over 50? Of course we can. But ladies, it takes work. Estrogen is that great elixir of life. And as we age and we lose estrogen, it just seems like everything goes to pot, doesn't it? Like we lose muscle. We're not as strong. Our skin starts to sag. And it seems like everything we eat just turns to fat. That's why you really, really need to exercise. Now, if you're going to start a fitness program, you got to start slowly. And you might not want to hear this, but this is important. You really need to incorporate weights into your workout. Now, what's the good news of all of this? You can do all of this at home. You don't even have to go to a gym. My guest today is Patty Sibach. She is a fitness guru. She also owns Precision Training Concepts. Patty, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. Are you ready to help us build some muscle here? Are you ready?
I am ready. And thanks for having me on, Flora. Boy, that was quite the setup as far as what happens to women as we age. And we need to kind of change that, don't we?
Yeah, it stinks. And you know what? I always say it's a man's fault because it's menopause. Men are behind all of this.
Right. In the name alone, there's the guilt.
All right. Before we get into the meat of this podcast, tell us about yourself and how you got into fitness.
Sure. First of all, I grew up on a farm and I grew up with older brothers. So they never allowed me to really lay on the couch and play with my Barbie dolls. I had to be outside playing with them and actually working on the farm. So I did kind of get a jump start with that. But I was one of those girls, you could call me a tomboy. I always enjoyed my fitness and my sports. So I know that's one of my gifts. I know that comes easily to me, but I also know that doesn't come easily to everyone. So as I attended college on a athletic scholarship, I then transitioned into pharmaceuticals, health insurance, and women's health. And I really found that was my love and my passion, that I wanted to help women, specifically everyone, but specifically women, be the healthiest versions of themselves. And about 15 years ago, we started Precision Training, which is personal training studios. It's evolved into other avenues and abilities to help individuals of all ages. But, as I age, I want to continue to help the individuals that are, like you said, 50 and over, and we still want to be fabulous.
Absolutely. And we can be fabulous, but it takes work. So as we turn 50 and we start to lose estrogen, what happens to the female body, Patty?
Right. So unfortunately, as we age, and, that aging process starts pretty quickly at age 30. We can lose almost up to 8% of our muscle in that decade alone. And if we're not fighting that, it can look pretty bad by the time that we're 70. And I don't know about you, Flora, but I still want to be active and mobile and moving and living a wonderful life at that time. So we really have to combat that with what you had mentioned is resistance training. And it's what I like to call functional fitness too, right? Why are we doing this move? A lot of women don't like to do any type of strength training, but you have to think, I'm doing this to invest in my health so that I can do this.
Right. And it's all really linked to this lack of estrogen that our body goes to hell.
Right. Right. And you know what, Flora? I thought I could just breeze right on past menopause, right? I was always healthy. I was always fit. I'm thinking menopause. Let me tell you, that thing just sucker punched me right in the face. And thank goodness that I at least had some background as far as I had a head start. Right. So I had the aches, I had the pains, I had the bilateral pain and joint pain. I had the night sweats. I had the day sweats. I had every symptom that you could. And I still was in denial, I think, until I'm like, wow, I have a complete depletion of estrogen. And thankfully, and this is something we can talk about with HRT, I did choose to go on it, and it has helped tremendously. Some women like to power through that. Having a pharmaceutical background, I knew that the pros outweighed the cons on that at this point with some of the changes and guidelines, but that helped me. But thankfully, resistance training got me through some of those darker days too.
So you wanted to power through menopause, and I like to say we need to muscle our way through menopause.
Right.
And I think that some women are like, oh, I don't want to lift weights, but we're not talking about like super heavy weights. And why is it important to lift and to muscle your way through menopause?
Right. So, and you're exactly right. That's probably one of the first things that we'll hear is, I don't want to look like Arnold. Well, you won't look like Arnold.
Who the hell wants to look like Arnold?
Right. Women aren't designed to. We do not have that testosterone to be able to achieve that look. Anytime you might see a woman that is much more muscular or vascular, she's achieving that through artificial means. So let's lay that out on the line.
Right.
So what we want is muscles so that we are strong, that we're able to get up, that we're able to keep our joints strong, that when we do fall, we're able to get back up. That's when we say that we want to be strong, and we need that muscle to be able to have those movements for everyday life.
And I think it's important too that when you start something, for me, exercise, it's just a lifestyle. It is a way of life. I've been exercising my entire life. Yeah. But if somebody is just starting, they need to go slowly. We talked about weights. So I got these weights, right? Right. These are 5-pound weights. Okay. And I thought, okay, well, I will use these 5-pound weights at home. But I feel like there are some movements, I actually feel like 5 pounds is too much. And maybe I should have gone with 3 pounds, because I feel like if I'm making a particular move, I'm like, I'm going to injure myself. And the last thing I want to do at my age is to injure myself, because it hurts 10 times worse. So you have to be in tune with your body. You got to listen and pay attention. And don't feel bad if you can't lift that 5-pound weights, because again, I've been doing this my whole life, and 5 pounds, some movement, it's too much.
Right. And you hit on a couple of points that are so important, Flora. Number one, you've been doing it for a while. And so you've invested in your health earlier, and bravo to you. So a lot of women will say, oh, is it too late to start? No. The second best time to start is actually today. The first best time was years ago, but we'll take today, right?
We'll take it.
And then secondly, as you were saying, boy, the 5-pound weights, I could have easily lifted them years ago, but it's more of a struggle today.
It is.
Guess what? Our fitness evolves as we age. And we aren't meant to be doing the same exercises that we were doing 30 years ago. Our body does change, but what we do want to keep consistent with, and the word there is consistency or intensity is movement, right? We always say motion is the lotion, blah, 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 but it is true. So don't beat yourself up if you can't do the exact same movement that you did when you were a college co-ed.
I don't beat myself up, and I'm totally okay with it, that certain things, 5 pounds, it's too much, but I don't want to injure myself. Right. And I think that women need to be aware exactly what you said. You're going to start slowly. You don't want to hurt yourself. I think of so many people I'm going off on a tangent here. I'm having an ADD moment, but
I know
everybody's
this is important to you. I know this is very important to you.
It's very important, but so many people, pickleball, and they're out there playing like they're a pro, and then they trip and fall and they break their hand. And I'm not about that, you want to play pickleball to have fun, but that is a perfect example that people go out there and they're they want to be this pro pickleball player, and then they end up getting injured. And that's the same thing with starting a fitness program and incorporating weights into it. And so, somebody might ask, is the goal to start a fitness program to lose weight, or is the goal to get healthy?
The goal,
and there's a big difference. There's a big difference.
And you're exactly right. I mean, with obesity, with being overweight, there are certain risk factors, right? And I can tell you that because I think you know that my background in pharmaceuticals, I was one of the representatives that launched one of these GLPs. So
Yeah.
I mean, the GLPs have a little bit of controversy. They're very good for what they're indicated for, what the clinical trials show, right? When you lose weight, your risk of certain events reduce. But along with that, you need to be exercising and doing that resistance training to build that muscle. To answer your question, going back to what is the answer? It's to be healthy. It's to be as strong as you can be. It's to be healthy. And it's so that you can move with in life to enjoy the activities that you want to be enjoying.
And you're also as being healthy, you're going to ultimately lose weight, lose fat, and you're going to be in really good shape. We talk about exercise, and exercise is very important. But I also want to touch on food. And I think that, they say it's 80% food and 20% fitness. I can work out for 4 hours a day, but that doesn't give me permission then to go eat a Big Mac, a large fry, and a milkshake. And it isn't going to work, right? Right? It's 80% food and 20% fitness. So you got to pay attention to what you're eating. Let's talk about that.
Okay. So you nailed it. Perhaps when we were younger, we could work out and get away with those fries a little more, or the milkshake, or the glasses of wine or whatever. But as we age, that pendulum starts to go the other way, where you do need to have 80% is good nutrition with the addition of exercise, right? Nutrition is the king. Exercise is the queen, and together you have that perfect kingdom. You cannot outwork a bad diet at this point in your life.
I love that. Say that again, the king and the queen and the kingdom analogy. I love that.
You know who said that was Jack LaLanne.
I never heard that, but I love that. I love that. I absolutely love that.
So
okay.
The king is your nutrition. The queen is your exercise. You put them together and you have the perfect kingdom.
Boom. Love it. Okay. So speaking of nutrition, the big buzzword is protein. Are you getting enough protein?
Right.
And here I am. I don't like red meat. Blech.
Really?
I don't.
Now,
I don't like
chicken?
the taste of it. I don't like the texture. But why is protein so important at our age?
Because that's the building block. So you had said back to when you work out, right? And then you go and you eat something that's just not healthy for you. After you are done exercising, you want to protein up, right? Because that is replacing everything that your body just depleted in that workout. The protein is the building block of muscle that you need to build and or maintain the muscle that you have. Also, protein is a natural appetite suppressant. So I know you don't like red meat, but do you like fish or chicken?
I do. I get lots of protein with yogurt, tuna, chicken. I get it from other sources. I'm just saying, like, red meat, not my thing.
Right. I'm not a big red meat person myself, so I get you on that one. But I do know the importance of protein. And there's so many different diets that are out there. And you scroll through all the social media and you think it should be one way versus the other. But if you saw the new food pyramid that is out as far as the national guideline, we just reversed that where protein's back up at top.
And so the other thing that I think people struggle with, how many grams do I need? You hear all of this macros and micros and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Do you basically need the number of grams of protein based on your weight? Is that the easiest way?
Yep. On your ideal weight. Yep. Exactly.
So if you weigh 150 pounds, then you need 150 grams of protein. Is that the simplest way to keep track of things?
Simplest way, and it doesn't even have to be that high, I think. But you want to get, oh my goodness, at least try to get 20 to 30 grams of protein in with each meal that you have. Get something. Don't at least say, you know what, I'm going to stick with my fruits and vegetables and not have any protein. It's all important, right? It's all important.
So is it fair to say at least 100 grams of protein every day?
Yep, that's safe to say.
Okay, Patty, I have a confession. I'm a cookie monster. I'm a cookie monster. I got to have me my cookies in the morning. How bad is sugar for us at this age? I know.
I will rant on sugar all day long.
Yikes! I opened up a can of worms.
Sugar is the devil in my book. If you
boo to you, boo.
I get you though. I love a good pastry. I love pastries. I do like sweet treats. It's so addictive, though. So addictive. I kind of play games with myself too. If I am going to have something sweet, I will try to have it in the morning, thinking that, you know what, I'll have all day to burn it off.
Yep.
Right. The worst thing for me is to have something with sugar at night. Number one, I won't sleep as well. And number two, I feel as though I'm not going to be able to burn that off. Food has sugar. You need it, right? You need that for energy. You get the natural sugars from your fruits and from other food sources, but it's the additional just pure sugar that's doing absolutely nothing as far as nutrition for your body or for your health.
Well, I start my day the Italian way with cookies and coffee, so too bad. I'm having my cookie in the morning, but to your point, I work it off.
That's not a hill you're going to die on, is it? You're going to continue on that one. That's all right.
That's my life. That's my life. I got to have a cookie in the morning with my coffee. That's what we do. Well, speaking of sugar, ladies, you got to put down the bottle. Stop with the vino. Let's talk about that, Patty. Come on, girls. Put down the bottle.
And, we use alcohol as a way to unwind, right? Or de-stress. At the end of the day, we're tired. I go to the gym at night. And that's a nice way for me to de-stress and unwind. And I do like a glass of wine or two, but it's for an occasion. It's not part of my lifestyle. If it would be part of my lifestyle, it would lead to such other ailments.
Well, it's sugar. It's like drinking pure sugar. And to your point, it's all about moderation. If you're going to have a glass here and there, but I'm sorry, I've seen some of my friends drink a whole bottle. I'm like, girl, what are you doing?
Right, a bottle.
What are you doing?
Hey, try to get your water in. That's the best thing for your skin as we age is to moisturize and plump up our skin cells as well. Not to mention just what water does for our digestive system. So I'm a big water proponent that, I've put down the wine, I've put down the alcohol. Again, I enjoy a glass or two now and then, but it's the exception and not the rule. And I've picked up the water bottle. So I do try to get at least 60 or more ounces in a day of the water.
Well, I carry around a Yeti with me everywhere I go. I got a big Yeti. It's full of water. I probably drink 3 of them a day. There's probably mold in that damn thing because I just keep putting water and water and water. Right. But I'm like, whatever. Yeah, I drink.
I have a lot of women that struggle with even water because they're like, I don't like the taste of it. I don't like it too cold. I don't like it too hot. Whatever the case is, add some lemon. There are some flavor adders that you can put in there. Do something, but just know the importance of it too.
Yeah, I do. I put fresh lemons in it too, and I like that taste. There's 2 things that you brought up, and I want to go back to them. Okay. You brought up those GLPs, these weight loss drugs. Ugh. Like, is this a good thing for us to be putting these chemicals in our body to lose weight?
Right. And, when those clinical trials were done for the GLP, they were set up with the primary endpoints to be A1C reduction in diabetes, right? Diabetes care. What they also found was the reduction in weight loss. So to answer your question, those medications are good for what those indications are for, which is A1C reduction. When they then did the clinical trials for primary weight loss, it is not the solution. It's an help to that disease state. Anytime a doctor would prescribe, what they should be prescribing first is what we just talked about, good nutrition and exercise, right?
Yeah.
Even going on those medications, they have to have record of trying those good nutrition, working with a nutritionist or, gym memberships and so forth. But they are not a cure-all. And I will tell you that, I traveled the entire country talking about what happens once you go off of those medications. If you don't include good nutrition and exercise along with that medication, the rebound effect once you go off of those drugs is dramatic. Not only do you gain back the weight that you lost, which is some muscle, because when we do lose weight, there is an amount of muscle loss, regardless of how you do it. All that weight that's gained back is fat. So not only have you rebounded with your weight gain, but you've rebounded with all that weight gain being fat. So again, goes back to what our discussion is, Flora. You must incorporate good diet and exercise, specifically resistance training.
Something else you brought up, you say when you see these women, they're all muscular and jacked up, they're probably taking something. And I do see a lot of women on social media that are getting super muscular and, like they look like they're going to kick my butt. I don't want to go anywhere near them. Is that really, I was always under the thought and the impression that women need a little bit of fat on our bones because we're different than men. Is it really a good thing and healthy for women to get that jacked and that muscular?
It's absolutely horrible. Once you go below single digit body fat. I mean, those women that have not gone through menopause are usually not able to have a period. They're not able to even bear children. They're on such high levels of testosterone. You now have male pattern baldness, but you also have jaw and facial disfiguration and growth, right?
And whiskers on your chin.
Well, that can happen regardless of whether we're on the
Let's not talk about that, Patty. Let's not talk about that.
But also, let's not mention, let's talk about the cardiovascular risk that's associated with these types of agents too. I'll see more and more of these bodybuilders because of, again, they're just injecting so much testosterone, and probably the women that you see as you scroll through, that they're dying young. They are having such intense cardiovascular events. They're having heart attacks and dying.
Well, and you brought up something so important. One last thing before I get you exercising, because you're being lazy. You're being lazy right now. You brought up cardiovascular health, and women need to realize, recognize, and I cannot stress this enough, that heart disease, not cancer, heart disease is the number one killer of women. Ladies, we need to protect our hearts.
Right. Yeah. And it goes back to everything that women are today. They're caregivers, they're employees, they're employers, they're advocates, they're friends. We do it all. Yeah. And it comes with a risk. And it comes with a risk that we're not investing in our own health, that, we can't pour from that empty jug. And we try too often to do that. And that's when these types of events occur. Our body implodes.
All right. You get into position because remember, at the very, very top of this podcast, I said that you can accomplish this at home. You don't have to go to the gym. So can you show us some simple exercises of things that we can do at home to build muscle, build strength, burn fat? I'm with you, girl. I got my weights. So show us some things.
Okay. So, the one thing we don't have enough of is time today, right?
Right.
So I would suggest to women, if they're at their house, you can carve out 15 minutes to 20 minutes of time. Put it in your calendar as if it's a meeting. yes, it's a meeting with yourself. So with that being said, how would you start the workout? I would start the workout with the low, just from the bottom and work your way up. Number one, when you start with your legs, you're working the biggest muscles in your body. So guess what? You're going to be burning the most calories. So some simple exercises that you can do at home would be, first of all, a squat. Squats are great for your front of your legs, the back of your legs, and the butt. And by squatting down, your legs are shoulder width apart, and you're just going down. And you're coming back up. And look, am I going a little fast, Flora?
No, you're going very slowly, which is important. Right. So can I hold weights and do that as well?
You can. And you'll see or read that it's called a goblet squat. You're kind of holding it like a goblet. This is a 5 pound. Hey, I got a 5 pound too. And that will add the resistance.
And you feel that. You feel that in your glutes. You feel that in the back of your thighs.
And I'm going to go to the side because I'm not going forward when I go down. I'm staying straight up and I'm sitting straight down with my shoulders back. And you want to make sure, because that's going to take all that pressure off of your back as you're going down, and it isolates those leg muscles and the butt muscle. Probably the most asked exercise is, how do I get my butt firmer? And that's a great way.
That was easy. Okay, how about your core?
Sure.
Your core. Show us something to do with that.
Yep. So a great movement for the core, you can hold on to the weight again, except you're going to hold this way, and you're just moving. Your shoulders are following your hand. I'm not doing this, right?
Yes.
I'm following. And again, I'm not moving very quickly. I'm breathing, and I'm rotating. Another great core movement would be just a plank, right? Now, I don't know if I can go the whole way down, but I can show you, and this will also be a great movement for your arms and your shoulders. And all I'm using is a little bench that I have in my house. You can use a chair. You can use the couch. Your legs are extended out. My body's nice and flat. And down I go, and I push up. For a lot of women who are just starting, Flora, that position is too difficult. So what I suggest is go off the wall. The more vertical you are to the ground, the easier it's going to be. The more parallel you are, the more difficult it's going to be. And push here and out. I also suggest that they do that 2 to 3 times a week for resistance training. Now, I had mentioned earlier that it's consistency over intensity, so you want to be consistent.
How about upper body and arms?
Yep. Now, I'm showing you a couple things. People go, oh, I don't have weights. I don't have room for it. We have bands, stretchy bands, this type of band.
Those resistance bands really work. They really do make a difference. Yeah.
Right. I'm going to just use the 5 pound weights because you said you had 5 pound weights.
Okay.
And again, a great movement is the weights are at your side. You go out, and my palms are down, out, and down. Come up, forward, over, back. That's called a 6-way, and down. Again, I didn't race through it, did I?
No.
It's all about form. And that actually worked my core as well. And you had asked for another good exercise for that. Now you have the traditional bicep curl, but I like to show movements for women that are compound. And what I mean by that is you're trying to work as many body parts as possible because we don't have the time sometimes to work out.
Yeah.
So one to incorporate a compound movement would be legs, arms, shoulders and calves up on my toes, back down. One of my favorite moves.
So that's like women multitasking. Because that's what we do. Multitask. Come on, Patty. Give it to me all at once.
So the one point I'd like to make with the resistance training is, and you kind of mentioned it earlier, and it's you have to be progressive with the weights. Now you said, boy, sometimes I can do the 3 and sometimes I can do the 5. Let me ask you this. Could you do a 7-pound weight or an 8-pound weight? Because you don't want to remain static or stagnant. You want to increase that weight.
So in all fairness, I have to be super, super honest. I do go to the gym and I do lift heavier weights at the gym, but there are days when I don't have time to get to the gym because that's going to tack on another 30 minutes to my day. And so when I'm working out at home, I use these weights at home. So I have 5-pound and 8-pound weights at home.
Right.
And some things I'm able to do the 8-pound, but other times, I stick with the 5-pound and I'm like, ugh.
Right.
So you have to pull something here.
I don't want women to get into the pattern of, you know what, I'm going to do 3 sets 12 times with my 3-pound weight. I'd rather see a woman try a 5, 7, or 10-pound weight, and success may look like, hey, I can only do this 3 times. But guess what? Those 3 times that I did it correctly with good form. And it was heavier and I could feel it. That's success.
So, and it's interesting because when you are doing these exercises, there's intention to it. You do it slowly. There's intention. You're doing the movements. I know sometimes when I'm racing through and I don't have good form, I can feel the difference.
Right.
And people need to understand how important form is to that. So
engaging that core, breathing. If you want to increase the tempo, you can, but you do that once you've mastered form. I'd rather see someone go slower with good form than say, hey, I did 3 sets of this and their form was lousy. But because really, is that doing anything to build muscle that we want to accomplish?
Show us one exercise that you could recommend using the resistance bands, because we've seen you holding the hand weights. Demonstrate something with your resistance bands.
So these have handles, and you can get these at like a Dick's Sport or even on Amazon.
Yep.
And what you do is, you had mentioned like an arm exercise. I just put my one foot right in the middle, and I have my elbows almost as if they were nailed to my side. And I come straight up. Again, not real fast. I'm breathing in. And it's a very controlled movement. I'll show you one more time.
Patty, I want to ask you while you're doing that, those resistance bands, they're thin, they're medium, they're thicker. What's the difference? I get confused with them all the time. When the band is thin, is it lighter? And then
it is lighter. This is a green one, which to me means light, so you can go with it. I brought in another green band that you can put around your legs, and you can kind of have that leg movement going back and forth. There's little butt busters, we call them.
Butt busters. So the thicker the band, the greater the resistance.
Yeah, the bigger the circumference, the greater resistance when you try to pull that up.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I always suggest going lighter. And then once you feel as though, you know what, this is a little too easy for me now, I can blow through 12 reps going 3 times on it. Maybe it's time to increase the resistance band and go, I think the next color's in yellow. And that may be like a 30-pound. This is a 20-pound resistance band.
So, okay. And one more exercise, and then we've got to wrap things up here.
Oh, okay. I don't have to go to the gym today.
Show us one exercise for your shoulders.
Sure. I'm going to do a shoulder press. And notice how I am elbows straight out, parallel to my shoulders. I'm pushing straight up and down. I'm not coming down here. I'm going parallel to my shoulders. That's an isolated movement. but it does work the shoulders. And you have to be careful when working the shoulders. You don't want to overwork the shoulders because there's 3 very small muscles. And we see a lot of shoulder injuries because someone will want to work shoulders for 45 minutes. You don't have to. You could do what I just showed you for about 3 sets, maybe another exercise where I did show the push-up. Those 2 exercises alone, if you haven't started an exercise regime, is enough. Because once you have a shoulder that's tweaked, you're in trouble.
Oh, yeah. I've had that. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. You do have to be careful.
Right.
So as we wrap up this podcast, I think this is all great information, great advice. There's all these apps out there now too, that you can find a home workout. Get some weights, ladies. These 5-pounders, I got them at TJ Maxx. They were $5, but I think it makes so much difference in getting the most out of your workout. You can do it at home. And Patty, as we wrap things up here, what's your final message to women over 50 who want to be fabulous and are getting ready to start a workout program?
Right. Ladies, don't wait for the perfect time to start. You have to start today to invest for a healthier tomorrow. You will kick yourself if you are at a point where you're not able to enjoy life when you knew that all I needed to do was pick up a weight. The hardest movement is picking up that first weight. Get some help, get some professional help if you need it, but just start. Resistance training to build and maintain muscle is so important as we age.
I think that was the perfect way to end this podcast. Patty, so fun having you on the podcast. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Laura, you keep being healthy over there.
I'm tough, man. I'm going to kick some butt over here. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thanks, Patty. Patty had some great advice. Again, ladies, you got to bring weights, use some weights, get them into your exercise regime. Start slowly. Do it for yourself. It's all about self-care. You don't need to do this for an hour or 2 hours every day. 15 minutes, even walking is going to pay off so much. Just got to get moving to get healthy and fit and do it for yourself. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Do me a favor. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chick2Chick USA. That way, every time we come out with a new podcast episode, you're going to get that alert on your phone. Again, Chick2Chick USA. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a great day, and we will be back soon with a new podcast episode.